Don't want you to knock it
Yeah.
I think you guys today saw a little bit about, you knew a lot about the ball player, but I think, being around him today, you got a chance to see, the man. And that's honestly a lot of what makes him him. This is a unique player, but it's also a really good dude. And when you put that kind of work ethic together with somebody that's that hard working and wants to push it that much, you see what the competitor is. It's really cool to see.
Dan, when were you sold? When were you sold on him?
I think anybody who watched football could say this is a talented guy. So I'd say over the last 2 months when I found out, what was behind the ribcage, and this guy is tough. He is competitive. So I'd say the things that stuck out to me going to LSU and hearing about early meetings with people and all the extras that he wanted to do to become great, because when you're already playing at a really good level, to go to the next spot is not easy. And so I know how hard he worked for that. And I think probably he spoke about the Florida game, but more importantly, that was probably that showed a lot of resilience. He had gotten banged up in the game prior to that. And so not to have a full week of practice and to kind of go out and put on that type of performance, I think those are the two things that jumped out to me, the dedication and the resilience. And I think all of us would know at every position that's really important, but at quarterback, probably as much as anything, because the tough times, the adversity is going to be there. And, we'll be there standing shoulder to shoulder with him and give him all the support he needs. But this is a guy that is a rare competitor.
Now, is your expectation that he'll be the week 1 starter?
You know what? The expectations for us is like putting out the most competitive team that we can. And when that time comes, when he's ready, then that's when we'll do it. But there's no timeline on that. We're fortunate here that we've got a good, strong quarterback room. But, we'll let that all the way play out. The central theme and everything that we're doing here is competing. It's at quarterback, it's at offensive tackle, it's at defensive end, it's wherever you look. And so that'll be the central theme of how we do it.
And what is the challenge of integrating a rookie like Jaden into the NFL? How do you push him? How do you push those buttons?
Well, I think there's, if there was an ideal space to come into, it's one where everything is on the same page. So he's not coming into a team that this is the system we've been running for the last 5 or 6 years, and everybody can be so far ahead with that. So knowing that, the veterans are only a few weeks ahead into that process, we'll all be on the same page moving forward together. Some of the hardest parts about coaching in the NFL in the early phases is a veteran who's played 5 or 6 years has this knowledge, and a rookie's coming into here. So imagine teaching English 101 and Masters English in the same day. And so you can't teach the same class in the same way. So for a player coming in right now, you mind sliding over just a little bit? Thank you. For a player coming in right now, I think that's a big deal to everybody, being on the same field. And for, hardworking guys like he and Marcus, they'll put the work in.
You mentioned the scheme. Obviously, you guys hired Cliff, I guess, before you kind of knew there would be Jaden. So how do you marry what Cliff likes to do versus what this quarterback can do? How do you kind of?
Yeah, I think that's what makes guys like Cliff and Brian rare and special in the same way, because we'll make sure we feature the players in the things they do best, not the scheme. And so I've got direct, experience with that, where you think you're going to go one way, but after we get through, the off-season program, through training camp, this will be the offense. And so it'll be featured and tailored towards what all of the players' strengths are. And that's kind of the fun part of coaching, is like finding the different spaces to do that. And I really look forward to that.
And as far as today, 5 picks to do, obviously it's a lot to get to. What are you kind of envisioning positions perhaps you're looking at, or how do you kind of see today hopefully will unfold for you guys?
Well, one, I'm fired up as hell about it, because I don't think I've ever been where there was 5 picks in one space. So to have a chance to do that, and again, and throw it again. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. So we'll have a full deck of Red Bull ready, and it'll be really cool to see. But we have a lot of cool options, and through the previous years of acquiring draft capital like this, it's pretty rare. And so we're going to go forward as hard as anybody ever has.
Coach, what do you want to see out of Jaden, that rookie camp?
I think more than anything, just getting the connection with him and the team. This is not somebody for him or any of the guys where they have to put the cape on and lead and be in front of everything. I want all of these guys to be like the absolute best version of themselves. And we've got a lot of guys that can bring the team up and talk. And you talk about Zach Ertz or Bobby Wagner, they've done it at the highest of levels. And so that's a cool thing, because it allows Jaden just to absolutely focus on him and getting himself absolutely ready to get rocking.
How impressed have you been with Jaden? The noise leading up to the draft, and then the last 24 hours just seems so cool.
Yeah, I think that always came through, and maybe we all didn't see it, whether from a coaching side or media. But if you had gone to the touch points from, I knew coach people from where he's from, and DeMonte KZ and San Bernardino, through, Herm and Marvin, who spent time in Arizona State, and then down to LSU. So every step along the way, it's a great dude. It's a great dude. Like, there was no other answer that came out of people. And so it was very cool to see it come to life. I think you guys got a taste of that. This is a mature guy. He's had a lot of starts. He's been through the fires. And there's some that you can gain from that. Like, you've been in the fights. You've got some lessons that you were taught. And the best of the best learn from them. And you can see there's very few people that put together as good a year as he had last year after already playing in an excellent league and then taking it up again. So I think that alone speaks to it. The best of the best, they don't ever stop. They just keep finding ways and ways to improve, and he has that trait.
We'll take three more.
What does someone with his kind of speed, what kind of stress does he put on the defense, on the edges, RPOs, all of
Yes,
things?
and I think one of his superpowers is the ability to escape and make a good play. That could be in the pocket, that could be out of the pocket, but knowing that is there, that can give you some nightmares as a defensive coordinator, because not only do you have to have coverage and disguise right, but you better be really in tuned, because this is a player as a dual threat that can hurt you with his legs too. So I'm very excited that a number of DCs are spending extra hours and sleepless nights here in the offseason.
A lot of people talked about he's a passer who can run. And I remember talking to you at the owners' meetings about how he's processing. So when did you go back and watch his first year at LSU, and
Yes.
how different was it last year for him in that regard?
Yeah, to tell you how thorough Adam is, not only did we hit LSU, we also went back to Arizona State, because he remembers seeing him like as a freshman. And so we pulled out a game, watch this dude, and he pulled out a game that he could recall and remember. And I was so impressed by that he was pulling out so. It told me a little bit of window into Adam too, to say, I remember this player, his acumen for it as well. So I think it didn't take long, like I said, on the field to see it. So finding out, like I said, what was underneath the helmet and behind the rib cage and what he stands for as a man, when those two things are in conjunction, you have your off-field world in order and you have your on-field world in order, some really cool things can happen. And I think that's the merging that he's at.
And Dan, this fan base is juiced up. They're excited to have
I'm
Jane
juiced up too.
as part of this franchise. And with that comes a little bit of a pressure of they think he's going to be a big part of the solution to help turn around this franchise. As his head coach, how do you kind of help him navigate that and not allow that kind of pressure or feel that pressure of doing everything at once?
I think for him and for all his teammates, knowing that I got their back, and we're going to work our asses off to put everybody in the right spots to make sure they can do their thing at a really high level. But we just want to grab as many competitors like him as we can, and put them all together and let that fire burn, because we're going to be an exciting team, for all of our fans and our family to watch and say, man, these guys really bring it. And we're going to attack every part of the field, horizontally, vertically, and with the quarterback's legs. So when you got to defend it all, it's hard, and we're going to make it hard.
All right.